What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get an accurate horsepower and torque reading for your BMW or any other car using a mobile app. Now the reason I'm excited about this app is because, as you guys know, this BMW 335 I picked up is ready to be modded. For the most part it is bone stock, but I have a lot of parts and it's not going to be stock for long. So I want to get a accurate baseline dyno run before I start modding this thing, so we can see real life performance increases after every single mod. Okay, I'm just gonna jump right into this and show you guys how this works. Today we're gonna be using an app called Log Dyno. It's available on Apple iPhones and any Android devices. So just go ahead and head to the Play Store to download this app. I will put a link down in the description below for it. But it's really simple. It's $10, and trust me, it is worth it. The only other thing you'll need besides the Log Dyno app itself is a logging app or mechanism. So in my case, I'll be using JB4 Mobile. I do have a JB4 installed on this 335. I found out it came with a JB4, so I went ahead and put a Bluetooth Connect kit on it, and now I'm able to connect right through this app, the JB4 mobile app, and take logs. A lot of you guys probably run MHD, so you'll just need to open up MHD and use the logging functionality of that app. But the Log Dyno app does require a data log to be loaded in to pull the horsepower and torque. Alright, first thing we need to do is take a log. So I just opened up the JB4 app. It's already connected to the car is idling and running. And to do the logging, I would just press the start logging button. But I just hooked up this GoPro here, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to take a log to load into this Log Dyno app. Alright, now that I'm driving here in Mexico to do this log, I just put it in sport mode. I'm going to manually put it into third gear. And once I press the start logging button, I'm going to mash the gas, except I don't want it to kick down, so I'm going to push it as far down until the kick down and do a low RPM. So I'm going to start at about 1500 RPMs and rev it all the way out through third gear. So I'm at about 1500. I will start the log, and now I'm flat-footed. Man, this thing is so slow compared to my 135. Okay, and that was redline. That is on map 0 with the JB4, so the JB4 is doing no tuning, no adjustments. All it did there was capture a log in completely stock tune, stock format. Okay, now that I'm back from taking that log, I do want to mention that it's very important you take the log on a flat surface, a flat roadway, not up an incline or a decline. But let's go ahead and take a look at the logs here. It should show up at the top a map 0 log. I can view that log right here. And this is a whole nother story, but I just want to make sure this looks clean. Yeah, we want a nice, even RPM going up like that. I'm just glad the log turned out from down low to up high. This is all we need. So let's go ahead and head over to the Log Dyno app. Okay, I just opened up the Log Dyno app. This is what you will see on the home page. Measurement, we will ignore that for now. Current gear, I did it in third gear. That's what I recommend you do it in as well. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that on 3. Additional weight, that is how much extra weight you have in the vehicle, including the driver. So I will go ahead and input my weight, which is about 145. Done. Tank percentage is how much fuel you have. As we can see right here, I've got about 2/3 of a tank. So let's enter about 33% here. Or 35 will be close enough. We're not going to open CSV yet. Correction. You can input whatever the weather was when you did the log, but since we just did it, I can go ahead and press the current weather button. That is very convenient. Here in the vehicle tab down below, you'll want to add your car. It comes default with a car. You can either modify that car or you can add a new car. You can store multiple cars in here. It's pretty cool. I named this 2009 BMW 335 Auto because that's exactly what this vehicle is. The weight I inputted there because I literally just weighed this vehicle. I'll put a little card up in the corner here. You can watch that video, but I found out the exact weight of the vehicle and I've inputted it right there. The tank capacity, the fuel tank holds 16.1 gallons. You can Google this for your car. The tire size, if it's rear wheel drive, you'll look at your rear tire size. If it's front wheel drive, you'll look at your front tire size. If it's all wheel drive, I believe you will still look at the rear tire size. So I've inputted my rear tire size there, 255, 35, 18. Transmission gear ratios, we can click that. And then here it's got some detailed gear ratios. I simply Googled what a 2009 BMW 335 automatic transmission has for gear ratios and I inputted all that here. The only thing I couldn't find was drivetrain loss, whereas 15. Apparently 15 is pretty standard across most cars, especially with an auto. If you have all-wheel drive, that's probably going to be closer to 20. If you have manual, it might be closer to 12%, but 15 is a nice average. So I put 15 there and then got all these other values just from Google. As we continue to look at the vehicle specs here, the drag coefficient, it came default at 0.3. I quickly Google searched that as well and that looks average for this car. Frontal area was already inserted at 2.08. Again, that seemed accurate, so I left that alone. But for the most part, the dyno reading is going to be very accurate, I've found, as long as the settings that you're inputting are accurate, as long as the log is clean. Everything seems to work very well, and that's why I'm showing you guys this app, because I believe in it. So once all the vehicle settings are inputted, head over to this settings area here, and this is where we will modify what we wanted to output in the graph. Torque is measured in foot-pounds. I live in the US. Power is measured in wheel horsepower. Again, I live in the US. There's many different options for this stuff depending on what you want to measure. The correction factor I'm leaving at 1. I've changed this to STD correction. There are other correction factors in here, but leaving it at STD allows me to compare it to my 135 dyno because I use the STD correction factor on the 135. And there's just a couple other buttons in here that could be helpful if you're struggling or needing to find out any information. But for the most part, this all looks good. The vehicle settings all look good. And this is all filled out properly. So now that the log Dyno app is set up, we need to go ahead and load in the log from the JB4 for it to measure. Now I was messing around with this app on my Android device and it was a little bit easier to open up the log and turn it into a dyno graph. You would just hit this open CSV button, go into the logs folder, and your logs would be in there. However, on iPhone it's a little bit more difficult. All we have to do is just head over to the app that we use to record the logs. So I just open up the JB4 mobile app. I will head over to the logging tab, open up my last log, the one we just took, and I'm going to email it to myself. Now before I open the email, we need to head back into Log Dyno. We need to input the additional weight of the driver and any other crap you might have in there. We need to adjust the fuel tank percentage to be accurate, and then we also need to mess with the weather settings. I'm just going to press current weather, and then we'll go back. Now we can open up the email and I'll show you how to load the dyno graph. So we're just going to hold down on the attachment. On an iPhone, we'll scroll over, hit Log Dyno, and see what comes up. Okay, it looks like 276 horsepower and 288 foot-pounds of torque with the default smoothing settings and all that. That's not bad for a map 0 for a bone stock car with no mods at all. That seems actually very accurate because these cars are rated at 300 and 300 from the factory, but this is measuring wheel horsepower. The 300 rating is a crank horsepower number, and that graph, although it looks spiky, I know it's because of I think my injectors are going bad, so I can feel it when I'm flooring it. in and out power band, but the overall graph looks about right. The stock turbos come in nice down low and it tapers off up top. So that looks good. I think this thing is dead nuts accurate. A cool feature about this that I haven't tried yet is that you can load multiple graphs and overlay them on each other. So I'm gonna go out and do another pull, this time on map 1. So with a little bit more boost, it should bump up the power numbers a little bit, and I'm gonna lay it on top of this graph and see how that looks. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a little log on map 1, which is just a little bit bump up and boost and a little bit more power, because I wanna compare this log on a separate graph. So I'm in 3rd gear, start log, here we go. Definitely pulls a little bit harder, especially up in the mid-range here. Alright, stop logging. Okay, now we've got another log to work with. Okay, so now that we did the second pull, we're gonna head back into Log Dyno. All the settings are the same still. The only difference is we're gonna go up to the measurement drop down and select B. Everything's gonna stay the same. Now we can head over to the email, which I already off camera emailed to myself, the newest log for the map 1. Hold this down, scroll over, Log Dyno, and now they should overlay each other. Yep, perfect. So let's see, it says 340 wheel horsepower, wow, and 313 torque. So it definitely picked up power, and I think it adds about 4 pounds of boost, 5 pounds of boost. So that seems very accurate actually. I'm impressed. That's good power numbers. This is gonna be a nice app for me to use every time I install a mod on this car to see a back-to-back improvement. You guys know I'm all about the data. So this just makes it really easy for me to do on my own time. Once you buy the app for 10 bucks, you have this thing for life and you can do as many runs as you want. So I think this is an awesome tool. I'm gonna use this along with my Draggy device to get live data after every single adjustment I make. But this is pretty accurate, and we can play with kind of the smoothing. We can step this way up so the graph is a lot smoother in 100 RPM increments. We can adjust the smoothing over here to be 5, smooth it out a little more. So we can really play around with the same corrections that you would on a real dyno. And these numbers, I think they're very accurate. The red line being the stock map and the blue line being my map 1 bump in power. This thing's awesome, and there's even a shift points feature here that'll tell you when you should be shifting on your car based on the power for each gear. Overall, I'm really impressed. So as you guys can see, I have a ton of parts ready to go on this car. Thankfully, I have this awesome app. I would recommend you guys download it. I have a link down in the description below, and if you click that link and then purchase the app for 10 bucks, you'll be supporting the channel. I do get a little kickback on that. Again, me just being honest and upfront with you guys. But if it weren't for that, I would still recommend this app, just because it's nice to see where you're at with power, not have to pay for a full dyno session and schedule it out for a one-time thing when you can be doing it over and over and over again for $10. I mean, it's kind of just a no-brainer. So that being said, I've got some more news on the 135. I got some exciting news on that based on that sponsorship video I posted a couple weeks ago. So definitely stay tuned. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.